everybody. Welcome back to UGASports Live. My name is Radi Nabulsi. I'm joined by Dayne Young, our executive producer, and Jim Donnan makes his return to the show. And I say it's his return, but I've been out of town most of the time, so people keep asking me, where's Coach? I'm like, where's me? I haven't been on either. So it's been I took most of July off. We finally came back last week with Jed May, but we got Coach Donnan back now because college football's here. The Georgia Bulldogs are practicing. Coach Donnan led this team. He led Marshall. He's led Oklahoma. He's been a head coach. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, and he's the reason everybody's tuning in on a Tuesday to talk Georgia football. So, Coach, I'm going to go right to you. And we do this every year. I kind of want to get your 30,000-foot view of this kind of football team. We've got some clips from Coach Kirby Smart that I'll get your thoughts on, but we haven't heard from you in a few weeks because I've been out of town. But let me kind of get your thoughts on where Georgia stands right now. Your optimism, concerns, fears, excitement. Where are you at with Georgia football in 2025?
Well, first of all, I want to say I appreciate all the letters and texts and phone calls and that heartfelt by me. I've undergone some real issues health-wise that put me in a situation where I was kind of incapacitated. But coming back a little bit, I don't know if I'm going to be on the starting lineup for the first game, but I'm working at it. So just have to put up with me on these glasses because I can't handle the glare. But as far as the team, I think the incredible standard that's been set here by Kirby and staff, the players, the expectancy level is such that when you don't meet the level that everybody wants, and certainly the one they wanted last year, then the general tendency is to say, well, what are you going to, is everybody caught up with you? What are you going to do to change all that stuff? But you got to look at yourself in the mirror and see why these things occurred, because of what we did or what the other teams did or what it might be. And I think Kirby certainly is a master at self-analysis. And the biggest thing for me is that it's a different world now. I mean, the portal, everybody knows that. It's stating the obvious, but you've got to adjust, and your team has to adjust to. It's kind of like when free agency started in pro football. You had the dominant teams, and then all of a sudden they started losing some of their depth because other teams would pay them. And now you see so many years where it's different teams winning the Super Bowl, different teams. And we're going to see that in college football because of the transactions that are taking place and the teams losing players and gaining players. So with that being said, as an overview here, my opening monologue is
Lost you, Coach.
Watch your hand, Coach. I think it's covering your microphone.
You did a good job of looking at what we needed to do. When I say we, UGA, realizing that, you just can't say we dropped passes. Why did we drop them? What was happening? Why didn't we get a better pass rush? Why didn't we get off the field? But the combination of two things were our downfall and our losing games and some of the close ones. We couldn't get off the field on defense. Way too many first down passes completed, because if I'm a coach calling plays against Kirby and Schumann, you don't see all those packages on first down. You see on second long, third and long. So first down is a great passing down against us. So a lot more of that we saw, and a lot of completions. We didn't get many interceptions, and we didn't get many tip balls, and we weren't around the ball nearly enough to get off the field. Consequently, the offense, which struggled with the lack of catching the ball and making first downs, and the fact that running backs was kind of back and forth injury-wise, suspension, not a real solid running game, and then you lose the lineman we lost. That makes the situation where we had limited possessions and limited stops and limited turnovers. So field position was not a real premium for us. So I feel like that they've worked hard on all those issues, and they've really worked hard to try to bring in some skilled players that can be difference makers. There's a lot of difference between, like when we were in Marshall and I left and Randy Moss State up there. I mean, you just throw it to Randy. I mean, hey, it's the same thing here. You throw it to Randy McMichaels, you throw it to Hines Ward, and they catch it and they run. Well, we didn't get much of that last year. I really think the addition of some of these players we'll talk about during the course of this podcast is going to be huge for us. But really, every team right now is ambitious, feels good, 0-0 record. But our present squad is very talented. It's young. We got a strong kicking game, and we got a great home schedule. I predict we'll be right in the hunt for the national championship.
Okay, we can let go. We let Coach go now. With that one line, we're good. I want to go back to something you touched on earlier, talk about the changes. And this is year 10 for Kirby Smart. And you talked about how things were when you were at Marshall and having guys like Randy Moss, and when you were here at Georgia, having that one guy you could go to. It's harder to do that. It's harder to have those named men. And I remember when we were doing the watch along, and I turned to you, Coach, it's 3rd and 7. What do we do here? You'd say, throw it to 19, throw it to Brock Bowers. It's like,
or hand it to him.
Yeah, or hand it to him. But Georgia, it doesn't feel like they have that. I mean, they're very talented, but there's not those named men. There's not those. You're not sure exactly what jersey's being sold the most, because you can't stack talent like that, and that's kind of was Kirby's MO. And then he's got to deal with. You can't yell at players like you used to, because now they're jumping to the transfer portal because you're too mean, or he works with a kid, recruits the hell out of him, and then he goes somewhere else because somebody brings him more money. I asked Kirby, in 10 years, it feels like it's a different football game. It feels different. And I want to know what the real difference is in football now between, 2016 and 2025. And Dayne, run a clip of Kirby talking about what's different now than it was when he started at Georgia.
The biggest area that's changed is the demand and decision-making is put on a quarterback. I think, 2016, you would have said RPOs were existent and people were doing them. They're at a higher rate now, but it's just a combination of motions and width of the formation. I mean, 2016, you were seeing 50, 60, 70% of spread out formations. They called it a spread offense because it was spread out. Well, now it's, okay, there's a taste of tempo in our league. There's a taste of shift motion. People are always moving sideways, trying to leverage the defense, eye candy, I would call it, along with a decision for the quarterback.
And he goes on to say that decision for the quarterback, he has about 3 to 4 options of things to consider pretty much on every play at this point.
Yeah, I think without question, and of course, I usually agree with Kirby on most everything. And if I don't, I wouldn't disagree on this show. But I feel like that if you just go back to the evolution of football over the years, I mean, you've seen different formations, you've seen blah, 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 blah. But you just take the academies. The academies, one of the reasons they run the wishbone is because they can't block people at the point of attack because of their lack of size, their lack of speed on the perimeter, and they have to have a system that gives them a chance because they got to compete with these teams. So that's what they do, and they execute and they keep the ball away from you, and that's their system. And with the addition of the air raid and the no huddle and all, people do the same thing with the passing game. They're precise in their underneath coverage routes. That's why when you play a team like when Leach was the coach, you couldn't get off the field because he hit those short routes. They find somebody they can work one-on-one, and they just keep the ball. Sometimes they don't score, but they keep it forever. So those two things balance out. And then you add the addition of the RPO, the run-pass option, where it could be a run, it could be a pass, it could be a give, it could be a keep. So that's a form of an option offense from the standpoint you eliminate the bad play. It used to be if you had a bad look, you would just check off and try to run another play. But now, if the box looks tight, you'll tag a route, and it'll be based on the coverage. The guy's inside, they'll probably run a fade. The guy's outside, run a slant. The guy's off, he'll run a hitch. If it's to the 3 receiver side, they'll just run a bubble screen out there and block the perimeter. And that's like the triple option. You're blocking to get on the edge. So football's changed from the standpoint. Systems are systems, but we've got a combination of some option offense within this RPO system. And the quarterback, by what Kirby said, and you just said, Dayne, has options to do that just by calling the play. Let's say he calls an inside zone with a tag to the outside, a bubble to the right, the 3 side, and a tag to the weak side. So kids are growing up doing that. They're doing it in the 8th grade now. They know how to do that. And that's why you see so many kids playing early. So now what's going to happen defensively? You just can't stay over there. Well, they ran RPO. I couldn't be right. You got to use some stuff to mess them up. Plug your linebackers, and instead of the linebacker plugging, then go back to where you think they're throwing the ball, or give them a look, read like you're trying to make them give the ball, and then they give it and you tackle them. So it's all football based on strategy, technique, all that stuff. And then you couple in the human element where you got talent and you don't have talent, and you got guys that knock people's ass off, and you got people that get their ass knocked off. You put it all together, and that's where we are in 2025.
I do not envy the coaches having to deal with that. I don't envy the players having to deal with that. And when I think about some of the guys that are coming in to a system like Zachariah Branch, Noah Thomas, Josh McCray on offense, Adrian Maddox, Harris, all the guys that are coming on defense, the other Branch brother playing safety. You've been spending all your time learning how they did it, at USC, how they did it at Texas A&M and all that. Now you come to Georgia, and I mean, football's football. Like you say, Coach, there's the systems, but you've got to be able to do it at an elite level, because you're going up against guys who were at Georgia, and have done it for 3 or 4 years. I mean, if you're Noah Thomas, you're coming in, you're trying to take Dylan Bell's spot. Well, Dylan Bell's really good at what he does. How do those new guys break in? Is it just sheer talent, or can they – is there a way to cheat the system?
It's your job as a coach to have a system, and not plays, it's players. It's
Right.
not formations, it's talent. So you have to – you can't say, well, he doesn't understand, he doesn't know. And we do have some complex things, but we're not the only school that does that. But the Saban system, which Kirby's a big part of starting it up, is based on always based on reacting to what the offense is doing and showing something and disguise and making you execute and having different ways, just like the RPOs we talked on offense. They got different ways to run different coverages where it looks like they're playing outside, but they're really playing level or whatever it might be. So the safeties and the linebackers and all have to learn that. But I do feel like that it might be a little bit of an overstatement right now for people to say, well, these guys got to learn the system. Let me tell you something. If a guy can go to school in Georgia and make grades and graduate, and you have a system they can't learn, you need to change your system. So, I mean, I've never had many guys in 50 years of coaching that were so dumb that they couldn't run a play. I mean, and that's a typecast thing. That's nothing to do with anybody here. So spend the time with them. They got an inordinate amount of time here. They got 2 weeks, nothing but football. They had all spring and all fall. This is the 5th, not the 4th, not the 3rd, not the 2nd, not the 1st. This is the 5th time that they've installed what they're putting in for the season.
Oh, wow.
Meeting with them, going outside, working the walkthrough. So every play that's in the playbook, offense, defense, and kicking game, this is the 5th time that they've installed it. And they've got pennies from heaven this week from the standpoint that the weather is so good that they will be able to function without worrying about heat, without worrying about being fatigued. They can mentally gear in and get this down. And I just feel like that Bobo, the offensive coaches, they realize, hey, we're under the gun a little bit more than a little bit as far as doing better, just like the defense. But so they're going to condense it. They got a guy that's playing here from Texas A&M that's been good in the league for 3 years. Coley's coached him for 2 of them out there. They know what he can do. Hey, so what if we did this 3 years ago? We don't need to do this with it. Let's get him the rock. I mean, throw him the ball. Same thing with Zachariah. He might not be able to do certain things, but I do know this. You hand him the ball and he can go 80 yards in a New York minute. So I am not worried about the guys learning the system and functioning and getting in, because these coaches are going to, they brought them in here, they paid them, whatever they did, because just like a trade and a pro team, they're bringing them in to augment their team.
Right.
You're going to see that very, very well in the first of the year. The fact that all of a sudden, and you add Colby to the mix, who was, any way you look at it, losing Colby and Ra last year was just too much. We had so much counting on both of them, and all of a sudden, you don't have either one of them. So you take the top 2 or 3 receivers off of any team in America, junior high, they're not going to be as good. So I'm kind of ranting and raving here, but
No.
let me just tell you, we're going to be explosive. We got a back that any team in America, he could walk in the room. Everybody, the word now is the room. We got a good room. Well, I'd rather have a good player than a room. But anyhow, Frazier can walk in any program in the country and play today. I mean, he's that good, and he will be that, coupled with really good tight ends. Our line is not as deep and doesn't have as many experienced guys, but good size. So I know the pride level with our players and with our coaches is such that they got a burr in their saddle. They are pissed about last year, and they're going to do something about it.
I mean, all this speaks to the value of the continuity as well, that if you do have new players coming in, the fact that Georgia's had as little turnover on that coaching staff for a program that's as successful as it is, like that's remarkable. And that says as much about Kirby Smart as anything with the players right now.
True, but let me just tell you this. If you were coaching at Georgia, and I'm not trying to be the antithesis here, why would you want to go somewhere else and let your head coach? You'd be crazy.
I understand, but then we've seen these guys interview. We know Glenn Schumann had a sniff in the NFL with the Eagles. We know Todd Hartley's had head coaching interviews.
Oh, yeah, well, that part's true, yeah, but you're not going to lose anybody to another staff right now. I mean, they've been you got best players. But I think the portal, getting back to that, and I don't think Kirby worries about, and I'm going to say something different from you, right? I don't think when he gets ready to choose somebody, like getting on him, that, hey, if I get on him too hard, he's going to transfer. Hey, if the guy's going to transfer because of that, you don't need him anyhow. The reason they transfer is 1 2-word sentence: playing time. It's not money. It's playing time. Now, the reason they maybe go to schools is the money, but if a guy's here after 2 or 3 years and he's not playing much, I don't blame him. Go somewhere where he can get on the field. It's not any of us that don't want to be in the game. I mean, it's nice to get the rings and be practice and all that and go on the trips, but you want to get out there and play. Most of these guys aren't going to play pro football. So, but we're not getting the depth that we had because people do leave. A guy like Peel left and is a good player. I mean, he could help us on special teams and do a lot, but he's going up there and playing for Fran Brown at Syracuse. He's going to start. Same thing happened with receiver last year. Went up there, caught 60 passes that wouldn't even caught 5 here. So that's part of it.
I'm happy for Chris, and yeah, I don't think you were ranting there. I think it was a good point because the clip we had is Kirby saying how complicated it is, especially for the quarterback position, and the defense is what they're trying to do. And you're pointing out it can be complicated, but these guys have it, and you've got the guys that can get it done. So it made me feel better, Coach, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
It also made me feel better.
One other thing, because I've been, kind of on my back and not feeling that great and thinking about things. So things pop in my head. But this is one thing I would tell my quarterback let's just say he's a wishbone quarterback. He's an option quarterback. He's a quarterback that throws the ball. And when I'm installing stuff and I'm putting it in, it's important that he understands why we're doing this, what we're trying to accomplish, and what we expect to get out of it. But if I'm the defense playing against the guy, I got to understand that every day of his football career, he meets with a quarterback coach. He goes through fundamentals every day. He teaches the other quarterbacks by the way he works and the habits he builds as a senior. And he's done this 1,000 times on every play. He ought to be able to execute it. I don't care what kind of defense you're working. And what I expect from a quarterback is to look at a play, why it would work, not going up there saying, God knows, look at that guy. I don't know if we can throw the ball. Hey, we even when we were undermanned, and I had teams that were not nearly as good as the ones we had at Oklahoma or Marshall or Georgia, I expected us to find a way to win just by executing and moving. Hey, you think you sit up there, you're playing Nebraska and you're at Kansas State, and you're trying to make a first down? I mean, you better be able to execute something because you're not going to be as talented. So it's not as hard as everybody's trying to make it. Okay, Gunnar Stockton, he came out of the womb running an RPO. I mean, he knows what to do, man. He can do it.
He's going to do it in person.
Ryan can
Ryan
do it.
Puglisi.
So they should be able to. Any quarterback can execute. It's not hard to do an RPO. It's not hard to read a defense. It's not hard. But what happens is it becomes hard when they bring in 4 week, when they show you 3 and go to 2 and all that. Now that's what the defense is doing to mess you up.
That reading, though, is funny how cyclical college football is, Coach, because I've heard of top programs, and I think Georgia's included in this, that bring in some of those really good quarterbacks that maybe ran the wishbone in the 80s and 90s, literally just to talk about what are your eyes doing at this moment, and that's going to dictate what your body does next.
Oh, exactly. And goes back to my coach, who was he was a heck of a coach. He's a lot better coach now than when I played for him, because I thought he was, he would never tell me I did anything. Except, there is only one read. If he's open, you throw it. If he's not, you keep it. Earl Edwards, 1965. And then if you throw a pick, he would say, when will you ever learn? I said, Coach, I can't help the ball went through the receiver's hands and went to the defense and back. That wasn't – I'd talk and I got mad. But Earl taught me a lot about how to handle situations in football. But reading defenses, he didn't teach me diddly.
Well, I also want to touch on something else that Kirby Smart said. Speaking of, your coaches and guys who have been doing it for a while and what you've learned from them. I thought it was an interesting question. Somebody asked Kirby, why is he still doing this? How motivated can he be in year 10 versus year 1? And that's not to say, you and I both know Kirby is the most competitive person you'll ever meet. But at some point, he's making, $13 million a year. He's won 2 titles at his alma mater. That ESPN and ABC, everybody would be chomping at the bit to have him come on and do television like you did, when after your time at Georgia, you went to ESPN, was a superstar there. He has options. Hell, we're seeing Barrett Dooley running for Congress. It's something, he's got a lot of career options. He's very young. He's got a family that he's raising. So why is he as gung-ho in year 10 as he is in year 1? So
it's putting the pieces together. It's like the puzzle of this team is different than the puzzle of last year, and being able to decipher the difference in the 2 teams and maybe what the wants and needs are from me. Like, what does this team need from me, and what does this staff need from me? Like, where can I be at my best for our team? That's my why. And seeing a guy graduate, I just came over here, and Ernest Green's got 1 project left, and he's going to graduate this summer. And like that to me is like the be all and end all when these kids get an opportunity to graduate from the university that I went to, and they get a chance to start, play, and carry on their career afterwards. That's success.
Your thoughts, Coach? I mean, that sounds like a pretty good why to me.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is genuine. There's no question about it, and he loves coaching ball. I mean, he's been around it his whole life, and he takes a lot of pride in being the coach at Georgia, not only because it's a great job, but also it's his school, and he's brought us back. I mean, Coach Rick did a great job, but he's taken us to another level that everybody in the country is trying to keep up on that level. So, but, you know, most people his age, I mean, this is prime time for him. So I don't see him he's got too much stamina, and he's got too much, competitiveness. And I've said this, like he just said, where can I help? How can I utilize my skill level to help our team? What does it need? Very few coaches I've ever been around have the ability to be an expert at every part of football. You know, some guys are better as a defensive back coach, blah, blah, blah. This guy, if you're assistant coach for him, you better know every technique, everything that goes with your position, because he knows it. You can't say to the O-line coach, well, what can we do to get this guy, better at doing it? He's going to say, hey, if we tried the gallop technique, if we tried to down block, and look at his stance. And, we were out there one day, and Marius Mims was out there, and what a talent. I mean, and I told Kirby, I said, look at his stance. He's limited himself on his base. He's too narrow. And he said, you're right. And he said, I thought about that, but going to see if he could handle it. But it's just the idea that everybody can use some technique and do all that. But I like the fact that Kirby, all over special teams, our special teams are really good, and recruits like that. And he gets experts at their position. And if you're not, he's going to train you and coach the coaches. The head coach your job is to coach the coaches, to be able to teach the systems you want, and also motivate the motivators. You're not going to talk to everyone every day. So when you're meetings and whatever you're doing, you got a message to the coaches. Hey, this is what we got to get across today. We're not doing enough of this. Our intensity's not there. Or we need to cut back, or whatever it is. And then those guys need to transcribe it to the rest of to their position.
Yeah, he doesn't do that in a vacuum. When we were out watching practice last Thursday, he got after one of the position coaches and teased that coach like, y'all didn't work on this all summer, which we know is not true. But he ribs his coaches as much as he does his players. So he holds everybody accountable. And it's not one of those things where you're ever going to see a position coach come over and say, well, why don't you do it? Because
maybe behind closed doors once in a while.
Exactly.
The difference is the evolution of this microphone that he uses has become a situation where a lot of coaches are doing it. And because of it, what most people never know, the coaches are saying to players and coaches is now public because it's on that microphone. So they think it's something novel. Hey, every coach has always done that, but now you just hear about it more because Kirby uses the microphone, and it's a good motivational too, for sure, because not only does the player hear it, but everybody out there and everybody on Bumpkin hears it too.
Yeah, that's the calculated thing. Like, I think some people feel like sometimes what he says is like overheard. Well, he wouldn't say anything into a microphone that he wouldn't be okay with someone walking by and hearing. Like, right. He's way too savvy for that.
And he doesn't care what anybody else thinks.
No.
I mean, all he cares is, let's get this across. And, I remember A.D. Mitchell, they threw him a long pass in practice one day, and he got down close to the end zone, and he just kind of dropped the ball haphazardly. It's in practice. Kirby went completely nuts there because that's happened to a lot of teams in the games, So for the next 30 minutes, all that kid did was run across the end zone back and forth to make the point to him and the whole team. that you can't do this. And it got the point across. But those are things that the symbolism of what you do affects our team. Our team can play great. We can throw this ball. You're going to be, but because you're haphazard and undisciplined, you're going to cost our team a 15-yard penalty or cost our team the possession of the ball or whatever it might be. But I feel like fan-wise, if you think about this season, which we said on our last podcast before everybody left, what a season home schedule. And just let's don't worry about next year's schedule or going to 9 games. This is going to be an unbelievable trip, man. I mean, you think about the tailgating for the Texas game, or I mean,
$1,000 a ticket right now, Coach.
your kids remember that. Your kids remember that the rest of your life, and
may have to get you out on Millage Avenue, Coach. Let you go by some of the Greek houses.
well, I don't know about that, but I would say this, that I'm not a fatalist or anything like that, but when you become seriously ill, you start thinking about a lot of things, but what you miss, and if you're not here, and certainly I wasn't in that position, but my family's number one for sure. But I was thinking, I sure hope I don't miss this season. I mean, really, because I'm excited about how Gunner's going to do, how these transfers are going to do, about how Mike Bobo's going to stick it up everybody and show them that, hey, what can you do? I mean, you're calling the plays. You can't call a play where the guy catches the ball automatically. You can't. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So
yeah, and Glenn Schumann has stuff to prove too. So
yeah, Glenn, the whole defense, everybody. I mean, but the point is, you created a monster here. I mean, 12 wins is not good enough. SEC championship. I never won it. I mean, we got close, but we were so far behind when we started. And my neighbor said this too, that he had the kid in the neighborhood went to school here, graduated. He went the whole year, 4 years at Georgia, watched them never lose a home game, never lose to Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia Tech. The rest of his life, I had a pretty good college life watching football. They never lost. 2 national championships, 1 SEC. But again, what have you done for me lately? That's all everybody's worried about now this year. And my point is, enjoy the fact you can watch it, and it's okay to ask questions and do all this stuff. That's what we're going to do. We want to help you and explain these things. But if we had a choice of who could be our coach, I don't know anybody that we would take over Kirby Smart. I mean, I don't know. Certainly there's a lot of quarterbacks with more experience and all that, but Gunner, you put yourself in his position. If you're looking at him objectively, this guy, this is a career, this is a lifetime type goal of his, a dream. And a lot of guys who grow up in this state would like to be on the Georgia team, walk on, anything else, or a starter. But to know that you're going to be the quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs and be in that history of being the guy that helped Georgia win. I mean, think about all the guys that have played here. That's one thing I tried to really get across to David Green when trying to recruit him is, look, we're bringing you in here, and you're going to be the guy that gets us over the hump. And certainly he did that along with DJ. But give everybody, people are questioning Gunner and all that, give him the benefit of the doubt that he's trying to achieve his goal, and let's help him. Let's help him by supporting him.
Yeah. We are, like, as you say, when you look at just the success they've had, and you're able to get a guy like Gunner had offers all over the country, but he wanted to be at Georgia. This is his lifelong dream. He wants to prove that he is the guy. And like you said, he came out of the running the RPOs. The kid's an absolute baller, and I like Georgia's chances this year. And again, we're not debating whether or not they'll be in the hunt or they'll win 8 games, 10 games. The question is, will Georgia win the championship? So you're right. This is the golden age of Georgia football, and we need to embrace it.
Well, some of that's that continuity too, that Georgia is at the high of highs, but Georgia's lows are higher than most any other program.
Exactly.
And so like LSU wins a national championship 2 years later, they're looking for a head coach. We've seen Auburn on that trail. We've seen Florida on that trail. That doesn't happen at Georgia.
Yeah, and that's a real good point, Dane. And one thing I would add to this is look at Andy Reid. I mean, you look at what a dominant last 5 years that they've had in the big time situation in the NFL. But their last game, they looked like they hadn't even practiced in the Super Bowl. So as hard as they worked and everything they did, you can imagine what kind of mission they're on. They've tried to fortify their offensive line. They're doing things. They got a great quarterback and all that. But the point is, people are getting on the Chiefs just like they're getting on Georgia. And they're right at the precipice of winning the world championship, just like Georgia was, but it's had a bad game. I mean, a couple plays didn't work out for us, and before you know it, Notre Dame was kind of team of destiny. But I felt like our team was capable. They just couldn't put it all together. But it's just the expectancy level that we talked about when the show started is unbelievable. And we want to meet that, but we also it's not like they're over there just not changing things that need to be changed. But I think if you're having to change a lot, then something's wrong with your system. And but as Kirby told me a few years ago about practice schedule and all that, he said this is a proven model. This is the way we're going to do it, and until we don't succeed with it, we're going to stay with it. And you brought up the injury thing. They did 5-year thing studying the soft tissue issues, making sure that they maybe didn't run quite as much in the off season and maybe not as much in practice with some of these receivers so they can protect them. And that helps you train your team a little bit better. But
they are pretty healthy, Coach.
Oh yeah, they are. And that's the goal. You want to get out of these 2 scrimmages. You've worked too hard to get to this point. So what's the benefit of knocking each other around compared to having them ready? But I do think these 2 first games, nothing against Marshall, and Marshall's got 60-some new players, so we don't know what they're going to run. The first quarter is going to be kind of a cluster out there because we're going to be looking about. You don't have any film on. I mean, you can look at their coaches, where they coached and all, but they're going to probably do a lot of stuff different. So people are going to be thinking about on ESPN. Marshall went through the first quarter. They're right there with Georgia. Well, they should be with a surprise attack, but and Marshall did beat Notre Dame 2 years ago.
Very true. I want to mention our sponsors real quick, and then I have one last thing to ask you about when we come back, Coach. So y'all hang with us through the break here real quick. I want to mention our friends over at Athens Ford. They have 71 used cars on the lot right now. Certified pre-owned. Again, if you get those certified pre-owned ones, those are ones that come with like 200-something check marks on them. That's a fantastic way to buy a vehicle. You're going to absolutely love it. It'll feel like a brand new one. But when you're getting a Explorer for $20,000, just can't beat it, or a Bronco for $26,000, or another Bronco or a Bronco for like $27,000. All these certified pre-owned ones. This is the best way to buy a car. So reach out to our friends at Athens Ford. You'll be glad you did. They won the 2024 President's Award. That goes out to you have to have the best customer service to get that President's Award. And our guys at Athens Ford, actually, they nailed that. So big shout out to the 5-star award-winning car dealership in Athens Ford, who are big supporters of the University of Georgia. Now, I also want to mention our friends over at myperfectfranchise.net, Andy Ludecki, who runs that. He is the guy who has helped a lot of UGA sports readers get out of their jobs and open a franchise, open their own business. He turned them in from, guys collecting a paycheck from someone else to the guys who write checks to other people. They write payroll checks. it is a life-changing experience. It is, well, I'll tell you, when I took over UGA Sports, it's terrifying when you know that other people's mortgages depend on you doing your job right. It's horrible. It's scary. But if you have a good support network, then it's a lot easier. And you can get that with Andy Ludecky. He makes sure that when you start looking into this, that you ask the right question, that he asks you the right question. So check out Andy Ludecky. You'll be glad that you did. It's myperfectfranchise.net. He is free to use. It doesn't cost you anything to reach out to him and for him to help you look at all the different options out there. He gets paid by the franchise company. So don't worry about having to pay him a lot of money to help you get into a new job.
Radi, I did want to mention, because I did a quick, 5-minute hit when it happened, when Rivals On3, that merger happened, the dog vent, we're now part of that On3 enterprise. You were gallivanting around the Middle East, Jordan, Egypt. I don't know where else. I don't know if you found a football recruit that you could turn it into a business trip. But you did that in Hawaii once, so maybe you did.
I taught with 5 kids in Hawaii, so that counted.
But I want to bring up our homepage and make sure that our people on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching understand what's happened with the dog vent. We're still the vent. And I'd like your voice to be behind some of that, because you were there in a lot of email chains behind the scenes with this.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's UGAsports.com. If you go to that, you'll just notice that it's UGA Sports is one site on the Rivals network. Now it's one site on the On3 network. And a lot of people say, well, is a Rival still around? Yes, but that is a division that just does recruiting now. So if you were logging in to UGAsports.com before, remember you used to put in your username and then your password. The only difference is now you have to put in your email and your password. So if you don't remember your original email, send me a note, Roddy@UGAsports.com, and I'll help you find it. So, but I mean, we just signed Josh Pate today. We've got, remember when people go check out the FSU site, the War Chant, one of the biggest sites out there. Well, now we're back on the War Chant. We're back with them, Bama Online, VolQuest. If you want to go watch the Gamecocks, the South Carolina Gamecocks melt down after they lose to somebody. Well, now we have the biggest South Carolina site on our network. So we're back to where we were with Rivals. All the big guys are together. The best message boards are together. So check them out. And if you want to find out who's going to be the starting quarterback at Tennessee when Georgia plays them, you'll find it on VolQuest. And if you want to find out, like I just put a whole list of notes on the board for what we're hearing about practice. Kirby's got a couple gunners now. We put out some freshman names. We put out the biggest surprise of spring camp. It's on UGAsports.com right now under a thread called What We Are Hearing. So check out UGA Sports, and same group of people. No one's changed. We're still here on these shows. We're still doing our watch along. We're still doing our Sunday show. And hopefully on Wednesdays, I'm going to have a dog roundtable where we have myself, Dean Legge from Dog Post, Jake Rowe from Dogs HQ, and Jordan from Dogs 24/7, all get on one show and kind of talk about, maybe in the evening, what we're hearing, or, argue about Georgia football. So a lot of fun stuff coming with this new merger, a lot of bandwidth for us. So I'm excited.
Coach, I even heard that you sometimes call it the ABC report or something, but I think Roddy's 3-2-1 will be coming back for
that's always good. A lot of good scoop on that. But as far as the watch along, I think we created a good situation. But in Dayne and Roddy's defense, you just can't. Those things just don't happen. So kind of cut back on the sponsors last year, but we went ahead and did it. So if any of you know anybody would like to get involved with that, get in touch with Roddy, because that helps. I mean, there's a lot of production involved, and certainly from my standpoint, I enjoy it just because I get to talk a little ball, but I'm not going to do it if these guys are having to sacrifice too much. I can just go over and sit in the suite and have a dinner over there and watch the game. So if you want to get to watch along, some of you need to get off your butt and get some sponsors and help them out.
I appreciate it, Coach. Last thought.
I'm serious. I mean,
I know you are.
I'm in the portal right now. I mean, there's some people after my ass to come on and do some stuff, and I might I'm not going to do it because I'm too loyal to Radi, but that doesn't mean I got to do all this stuff either here. So I'm kind of in demand right now. So no, I'm not really, but
Yeah, you are. I've seen the people reaching out to you.
my biggest point is I think the watch along gives you a chance to be a Georgia Bulldog and cheer for the team and know what's going on. And any coach beside me could do that. But it's just the idea that you're given some inside stuff that some of these analysts that maybe think they know more about football than they do. They're covering. You got to remember, some of these people, they only cover Georgia one game a year. They don't know all the players. They don't know why so-and-so does this and all. As compared to us, know them in and out. Know a coach, both coaches, Kirby and Bobo, and pretty much what they're going to do. And it's kind of nice to have an idea about what's going on during the game, and also get some good questions, have a good time. And I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the last 4 or 5 years that we've done it. So hopefully we can keep going with it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Coach. It's a blast. I learned so much. I mean, heck, we told everybody what was wrong with Carson Beck before the game was over.
Yeah, we got that, and we Peyton and Eli copied us, and they're doing pretty well with it.
Yeah, they are. Last question, I'll let you go, Coach. I appreciate you coming back on with us. Georgia, we talked about some of the guys that come into the transfer portal. I got this question the other day, and it kind of stumped me. It's like, where's Georgia? I don't say what their weakest link is, but we saw they need guys on the edge. They brought in 3 different safeties. They didn't bring in a new quarterback, although they did look at quarterbacks. They brought in a couple wide receivers. There weren't very many top end offensive linemen or defensive linemen in the portal. Those guys don't seem to go into the portal too much. But just in your football view,
well,
I'm worried about Georgia's safety, and I worry about him at outside linebacker and getting pressure on the quarterback. But if you don't, who plays opposite KJ Bolden? Who plays opposite? Who takes over for Chaz? What area on the defense has you concerned the most? Because I love Georgia's D line and I like the inside linebackers, but I'm worried about some other spots.
Well, it's pretty much of a rhetorical question based on the portal. You bring in guys that can give you impact on your team. You don't want to get somebody transfer in that's not going to be able to fill in. So the need was such at receiver, and we brought in 2 guys that really I feel like are going to jump up there and help us immediately. And same thing at defensive end. We lost the kid to Missouri, and he knows our system, and he knows how we sub these different packages and put linebackers out there. And you see guys like Chris Cole and all these people, and maybe he thought he wasn't going to be an every down player, but I think this kid, and we gave you a report on him when he made his official visit from Army. I saw him up at Jay Christopher's. This Elo kid, got long arms, just can really run, is physical. And when you hear people talk about the building over there, just like the room, when people in the building are talking about this guy, everybody says this guy is really special. And the same thing with the receiver from A&M. So I think those are 2 issues that we will quantify. And then I can't remember. Maybe it's because I don't remember as well, but I haven't heard as many people talking about a freshman as I have about Elijah Griffin. And really, he's a generational type player potentially. I don't want to put the edge on him like Carter. I don't know that he's that yet, but the fact that this guy can take over the line of scrimmage is going to help our defense immensely. And then you got guys like Kristen Miller and all these guys are going to help. But our safety issue is we brought one in from Maddox from UAB, and he's going to help us. I don't know that the guy from Miami right now has made the strides that maybe they thought he might. But Corey Thomas has always been a guy kind of like we saw with the one that did so many things for us last year on special teams. and made the play against Georgia Tech. You know, he knows it in and out. He knows where to be. He's not going to make mistakes. And you got a great player like KJ back there. Corner-wise, I would say we have more quality depth than we've had for a team that's as the portal, because we got guys around the country that are starting for other teams, Penn State,
True.
all around. So, but I do think that Ellis Robinson and Harris are going to have a great competition. Everett is really there. DeMello Jones. I'm hearing a lot about this. The guy I told you about last night, Roddy. What's his name?
Rashawn Dean.
Yeah, Dinkins. So we got players. We got and we got linebackers that when you take that room, it becomes a mansion.
There you go.
The linebacker mansion.
The linebacker match. Yeah, it's going to be good. That's Alex. I was just a little worried about, who do they have at outside linebacker? Who they have at safety? They brought in a bunch of guys.
You should be. You should be.
I feel better now. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up here. Be sure to jump back on with us this coming Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we will have more to talk about, and hopefully, we'll this time we'll open it up to questions. So we'll let you pepper Coach with some questions. So be sure to get them in next Tuesday at noon, and we'll see you then.